Hello, everyone. My name is Adam, and I'm so happy you're here with us today. Whether you're listening from home, on your way to work, or relaxing after a long day, we hope this podcast brings you not only a better understanding of English, but also some helpful insights that you can use in your daily life.
Hi, Adam, and hello to everyone tuning in. I'm Julia, and just like Adam, I'm thrilled to be here with all of you today. We're excited to talk about something that's really close to many people's hearts: self-confidence. It's a topic that affects us in so many different areas of life, from how we communicate with others to how we feel about ourselves, and even how successful we can be in reaching our personal goals.
Absolutely, Julia. Self-confidence is one of those things that almost everyone wants more of, right? It's that feeling inside us that lets us know, I can do this. It gives us the courage to try new things, to speak up when we have something to say, and to keep going even if things don't work out perfectly the first time. But it's not always easy to feel confident, especially when we're stepping into situations that are new or challenging, like learning a new language, for example.
That's so true, Adam. Confidence, especially self-confidence, is about trusting ourselves and believing in our own abilities. But a lot of people struggle with it. Maybe they're afraid of making mistakes, or maybe they think they're just not good enough. This feeling can make us hesitate, avoid trying new things, or feel insecure when we really don't need to.
Exactly. And in today's world, self-confidence has become more important than ever. We're all connected online. We're more aware of what others are doing, and sometimes that can make us feel like we're not as good as we should be. But here's the thing. Everyone struggles with self-confidence from time to time. Even the people who seem the most confident, whether they're actors, athletes, or leaders, sometimes feel insecure or nervous about themselves. So it's totally normal if you do too.
Yes, and that's such a good point, Adam. Today we're going to dive deep into what self-confidence really is, why it matters, and how you, our listeners, can start building it step by step. We'll talk about why confidence isn't something you're simply born with. It's something you can develop just like any other skill. So, if you're feeling shy, nervous, or unsure of yourself, don't worry. These are feelings everyone has, and there are simple ways to work on them.
I think a great way to start is by sharing a little story, Julia. I remember when I was in school, I was maybe in my early teens, I was really nervous about speaking in front of my class. It was for a history presentation, and I had practiced so much at home. But when the day came, I felt so scared that my hands were shaking and my heart was racing. I kept thinking, what if I make a mistake? What if everyone laughs at me? It was really hard.
Wow, I think that's something a lot of people can relate to, Adam. I remember having similar feelings. What did you do to get through it?
Well, I took a deep breath, looked around the room and told myself, okay, it's okay to feel nervous, but I've practiced. I know my material. Then, I started talking, and with each sentence, I felt a little more comfortable. By the end, I was actually enjoying sharing what I'd learned. That experience taught me something important. Confidence doesn't mean you don't feel nervous. It means you go ahead and try, even if you're a bit scared. And each time you try, it gets a little easier.
That's a great example, Adam. It really shows how confidence is built over time. I remember too, when I first started learning English, I was so afraid of making mistakes. I thought, what if I say the wrong word? Or what if people don't understand me? But then I realized that even native speakers make mistakes, and making mistakes is actually part of learning and growing. The more I practiced, the more confident I felt, even when I made small errors.
Exactly, Julia. And that's a message we really want to share with our listeners today. Building self-confidence is a journey. It's about taking small steps, practicing, and learning to be kind to yourself. We'll be sharing some simple, practical tips that anyone can try, ways to feel a little braver, a little stronger, and more sure of yourself in different situations, especially if you're learning English or trying new things.
Yes. So, if you're listening to this and you feel like you need a boost in self-confidence, stay with us. We're going to explore ways you can start to feel more confident, one step at a time. And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
That's right, Julia. So, let's get started on our journey to building self-confidence. Are you ready?
Ready, let's dive in.
All right, everyone. Now that we've had a chance to introduce the topic and share some personal stories, let's take a deeper dive into understanding self-confidence. So, what exactly does self-confidence mean? Well, in simple terms, self-confidence is the feeling that you can trust and believe in yourself. It's knowing that you have the ability to handle whatever life throws at you, whether it's a small task or a big challenge. When you have self-confidence, you feel sure about your abilities, and you believe that you can succeed in things you try. It doesn't mean that you always know everything or never make mistakes. Rather, it's the belief that even if you do make mistakes, you can still handle them and learn from them.
Yes, Adam, that's such a clear explanation. And I want to add that self-confidence is also about how you view yourself. It's the way you think about your worth as a person. People with self-confidence often feel good about who they are, and they don't need others to constantly tell them that they're doing well or that they're worthy. They believe it themselves. But that doesn't mean they never have doubts. In fact, most confident people still face moments of insecurity. Confidence is more about the overall feeling that you are capable and you trust your abilities to deal with whatever comes your way.
Absolutely, Julia. And now that we know what self-confidence is, let's talk about some of the common causes of low self-confidence. For many people, low self-confidence doesn't just happen for no reason. It can come from experiences or situations that make us feel insecure, uncertain, or even afraid. For example, a person might have low self-confidence if they've been criticized or made to feel not good enough by others. Maybe it's something that happened in childhood, where a parent, teacher, or peer said something negative, and that person internalized those words, believing them to be true. Or perhaps someone has faced failure in the past, whether in school, work, or personal relationships, and now they feel unsure about their abilities to succeed in the future.
That's a really important point, Adam. Our past experiences can have a huge impact on our confidence. Even small comments or events can stay with us for a long time and affect the way we see ourselves. For example, someone who has been made fun of for their appearance or accent may begin to feel insecure every time they look in the mirror or speak in front of others. It's also common for people to compare themselves to others. With social media today, it's easy to look at someone else's life and think, why can't I be like them? Why do they have it all together and I don't? These comparisons can make us feel small or like we're falling short, which is a big reason why many people struggle with their confidence.
Exactly, Julia. It's so important to remember that everyone's journey is different. But the reality is, even the most successful people have moments of doubt, and that's okay. Another common cause of low self-confidence is fear. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, or fear of not meeting expectations. These fears can paralyze us, making us avoid taking risks or trying new things. For example, someone might avoid public speaking because they fear making a mistake in front of others. Or they might hesitate to apply for a job because they fear they won't be good enough. These fears are completely natural, but they can hold us back from reaching our full potential.
That's a great point, Adam. Fear can make us feel like we're not capable of handling certain situations, and it can really damage our confidence. But I want to remind everyone that these feelings of fear and doubt are normal. It's normal to feel nervous before doing something new or challenging. It doesn't mean you don't have confidence, it just means you're human. Everyone feels nervous or insecure sometimes, and that's okay. The key is learning how to deal with those feelings and not let them stop you from moving forward.
Exactly, Julia. And this brings me to an important part of today's podcast. It's important for everyone to understand that it's normal to struggle with self-confidence sometimes. There's no one in the world who feels confident all the time. There are days when you might feel on top of the world, and other days when you might doubt yourself. That's completely normal. Even the most successful people, the ones who seem to have it all together, have moments of low self-confidence. And the good news is, we can all improve our confidence with the right mindset and actions.
Yes, and I think this is a really important message to share with our listeners. No matter where you are on your confidence journey, it's okay to have moments of doubt. Everyone experiences it. What matters is how you handle those moments. It's about being kind to yourself, recognizing that everyone has ups and downs and taking small steps to improve. Confidence doesn't happen overnight, it's something you build over time. The more you work on it, the easier it becomes.
Exactly, Julia. And we're here to tell you that you can improve your self-confidence. Just because you may not feel confident today doesn't mean you won't feel confident tomorrow or in the future. In the next sections, we'll talk about practical ways you can start building your confidence day by day. But for now, just remember that it's okay to struggle sometimes. The most important thing is that you don't give up on yourself.
Absolutely, Adam. So, let's remember, self-confidence is all about believing in ourselves and trusting that we can handle life's challenges even when we feel uncertain. It's normal to have moments of low confidence, and it's completely okay to feel afraid or insecure sometimes. What's important is to recognize that everyone has those feelings, and it's possible to build your confidence step by step.
So true, Julia. Now, let's move forward and explore some practical tips for how you can start building your confidence today. Stay tuned, everyone.
Now that we've explored what self-confidence is and why it can be difficult to build, it's time to share some practical tips you can start using today. These tips aren't just ideas. They're actionable steps you can take to start building your self-confidence little by little. We've broken it down into 7 specific tips. Each tip will include examples, exercises, and explanations to help you understand exactly how to apply it to your life. So, let's dive into our first tip.
Positive self-talk is a powerful tool for building confidence. It's all about the words you say to yourself in your mind. For many of us, negative thoughts can easily come up, especially when we're feeling nervous or doubtful. We might think things like, "I can't do this," or "I'm not good enough." These thoughts can hold us back and make us feel less confident. Positive self-talk means changing those thoughts to more encouraging ones. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," try saying, "I will do my best, and that's enough."
That's right, Adam. And for those of you listening, a good way to practice positive self-talk is to start with simple phrases. For example, you can say to yourself, "I am capable of learning and improving," or "I can handle this situation." Write down a few phrases that make you feel positive and keep them somewhere you can see. You could put them on your phone, on your mirror, or on a sticky note at your desk. Every time you feel nervous or insecure, read these phrases out loud to remind yourself of your strengths. Write down 3 positive affirmations about yourself. These could be statements like, "I am capable," "I am worthy of success," or "I have unique strengths that make me valuable." Say them to yourself each morning or whenever you need a confidence boost.
Setting small goals is another great way to build self-confidence. When we accomplish something, no matter how small, it gives us a feeling of achievement. This sense of success can boost our confidence. So instead of aiming for a huge, difficult goal right away, try breaking it down into smaller steps. For example, if you're trying to learn English, instead of setting a goal to become fluent in 6 months, start with something like, "I will learn 5 new words every day," or "I will practice speaking for 10 minutes each day." These small goals are easier to achieve and still help you make progress.
Yes, Adam. Small goals are more achievable, and each time you reach one, it builds your confidence to take on the next step. Think about something you want to achieve and ask yourself, what's a small first step I can take toward this goal? It could be something as simple as reading an English article, writing a journal entry in English, or speaking to a friend in English. When you complete these smaller goals, give yourself credit for your hard work. You'll start to see that you can succeed, one step at a time. Write down one big goal you have and break it into 3 to 5 smaller steps. Work on completing each small step, one at a time. Celebrate your progress along the way.
Celebrating small successes is essential for building confidence. Often, we focus so much on the things we haven't done that we forget to appreciate the things we have done. But each small success is a sign of progress and a reason to feel proud. For example, if you're learning English and you had a short conversation in English today, that's a success. It doesn't matter if it was just a few sentences, you did it, and that's something worth celebrating.
Absolutely, Adam. Celebrating doesn't have to mean throwing a party. It can be as simple as telling yourself, "Good job," or rewarding yourself in a small way, like taking a break to do something you enjoy. Recognizing your accomplishments helps reinforce positive feelings and builds your confidence for future challenges. At the end of each day, write down one thing you accomplished, no matter how small. It could be as simple as completing a task, learning something new, or trying something difficult. Reflect on how you felt and give yourself a mental high five for each win.
Everyone has strengths, even if we sometimes forget about them. Focusing on your strengths is a great way to build self-confidence because it reminds you of the things you're good at. Take some time to think about what you enjoy doing and what you're naturally good at. Maybe you're good at listening to others, solving problems, or staying organized. Whatever it is, focus on these strengths and remind yourself of them often.
That's right, Adam. When we focus too much on our weaknesses, it can make us feel less confident. But when we remember our strengths, we feel more capable. A good way to do this is by making a list of your strengths. Look at this list whenever you need a confidence boost. You can even ask friends or family members to help you identify your strengths, as sometimes they see things in us that we may not see in ourselves. Write down 5 things you like about yourself or 5 things you're good at. Keep this list with you and add to it whenever you notice another strength. Read it whenever you need a reminder of your capabilities.
Taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally can have a big impact on your self-confidence. When you feel good about yourself, it's easier to feel confident. Self-care can include things like getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising, and taking breaks when you need them. When we're tired or stressed, we're more likely to doubt ourselves. But when we're well-rested and relaxed, we feel stronger and more positive.
Self-care is a powerful way to recharge and feel ready for the challenges of each day. It's not selfish to take time for yourself. In fact, it's necessary for building confidence. Think about what activities make you feel calm and happy, like reading, spending time with friends, or even taking a walk. Try to include these activities in your routine as a way of showing yourself that you're worth taking care of. Choose one self-care activity that you enjoy and schedule time for it each day. Whether it's a short walk, meditation, or a hobby you love, dedicate this time to yourself and make it a priority.
The people around us can have a big impact on how we feel about ourselves. If you're surrounded by supportive, positive people, you're more likely to feel confident. On the other hand, if people around you are constantly negative or critical, it can be hard to feel good about yourself. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage and uplift you can make a big difference.
Absolutely, Adam. It's important to seek out people who believe in you and who make you feel valued. If you have friends, family, or even teachers who are supportive, try to spend more time with them. They can remind you of your strengths and help you see the positive side when you're feeling down. Make a list of 3 people who make you feel good about yourself. Plan to spend more time with them, or reach out to them for encouragement when you're feeling unsure.
The final tip is to step out of your comfort zone. Growth happens when we challenge ourselves and try new things. It might feel uncomfortable or even a little scary, but taking small risks can help build your confidence. For example, if speaking English in public makes you nervous, try practicing with a friend or recording yourself speaking. Start small, and over time, you'll feel more comfortable.
That's right, Adam. Each time we try something new, we learn that we're capable of more than we thought. It doesn't have to be a big step. Even small challenges like asking a question in English or introducing yourself to someone new can help expand your comfort zone and build your confidence bit by bit. Choose one small action that pushes you out of your comfort zone each day. It could be speaking to someone in English, trying a new activity, or learning something unfamiliar. Reflect on how you felt before and after taking this step. These are just some of the many ways you can work on building self-confidence. Remember, confidence isn't built overnight. It's something you can develop over time with patience and consistent effort.
Exactly, Julia. Start small and keep practicing these tips. Each small step brings you closer to a more confident version of yourself. Now, let's talk about something that's often overlooked but plays a huge role in how confident we appear to others, and even how confident we feel inside. That's body language. Body language includes all the physical ways we communicate without words. It can send strong messages about our confidence, even before we say a single word. For example, the way we stand, the way we look at people, or even our facial expressions can all show others whether we feel sure of ourselves or not.
Yes, Adam. And what's really interesting is that body language doesn't just communicate confidence to other people. It also sends messages to our own brains. When we adopt confident body language, we actually start to feel more confident inside. It's a bit like tricking our minds into thinking, hey, I look confident, so I must feel confident. This concept is backed by research and can really help when you're in situations that feel challenging or intimidating.
That's a great point, Julia. Sometimes, even if we don't feel super confident, we can still act confident with our body language. And when we do, it can actually make us feel more at ease. Let's break down some simple body language tips that anyone can practice to appear and feel more confident. These are things we can all start doing, no matter where we are in our confidence journey. Ready for the first tip?
Absolutely. Let's start with something fundamental. Standing straight. Standing straight or having good posture shows that you feel strong and balanced. When we stand up straight, with our shoulders back and head held high, we look and feel more confident. On the other hand, when we slump our shoulders or look down a lot, it can give the impression that we're unsure of ourselves. Try to be mindful of how you're standing, especially when you're in a situation where you want to feel more confident.
That's right, Julia. And if this is a new habit for you, just remember to make small adjustments. You don't have to change everything at once. Start by practicing good posture for a few minutes at a time. For example, when you're waiting in line or sitting at a desk, notice how your shoulders and back feel. Make small adjustments so you're sitting or standing in a way that feels strong and comfortable. To practice, stand up straight, with your feet hip-width apart, shoulders back, and head held high. Feel the difference this makes in how you feel. Try to do this for a few minutes each day, and over time, it will feel more natural.
Now, let's talk about another important body language tip: eye contact. When we make eye contact, we're showing others that we're engaged, open, and confident. Looking someone in the eye when you're talking to them can make your words more powerful and shows that you're really present in the conversation. It also makes you appear more trustworthy. On the other hand, if you avoid eye contact, it can make you seem unsure or shy.
Yes, and eye contact doesn't mean you have to stare intensely. Just try to look at the person you're talking to for a few seconds at a time. If holding eye contact feels uncomfortable at first, start small. Look into their eyes, then glance away naturally and come back. It's all about finding a rhythm that feels comfortable. And remember, practice makes perfect. If making eye contact is difficult for you, try practicing with a friend or family member. Look at them in the eyes for a few seconds while speaking, then take a break if you need to. You'll get more comfortable over time.
That's such a helpful tip, Adam. All right, let's move on to another body language habit that can make a big difference: keeping your hands visible and open. When we feel nervous, we often hide our hands by crossing our arms or putting them in our pockets. But when we keep our hands open and relaxed, it shows that we're calm and approachable. In fact, keeping your hands open when you're talking can make you appear more trustworthy and confident.
Yes, and using gestures can also help emphasize your points when you're speaking. For example, if you're explaining something, try using your hands to add a bit of expression to your words. This not only makes you appear more confident, but it also helps people understand what you're saying better. Just keep your gestures natural and avoid crossing your arms or hiding your hands too much. It's amazing how such a small change can make such a big difference. Practice speaking with your hands open and relaxed. When you're talking to someone, try using a few simple gestures to emphasize your points. Notice how it feels and pay attention to how others respond.
And finally, let's talk about smiling. It may seem simple, but smiling can have a huge impact on both how others see us and how we feel. When we smile, we appear more friendly, warm, and approachable. People are often drawn to positive energy, and a smile can create a welcoming atmosphere. And here's the interesting part. Smiling also releases feel-good chemicals in our brain, which can actually help us feel more confident. And finally, let's talk about smiling. It may seem simple, but smiling can have a huge impact on both how others see us and how we feel. When we smile, we appear more friendly, warm, and approachable. People are often drawn to positive energy, and a smile can create a welcoming atmosphere. And here's the interesting part. Smiling also releases feel-good chemicals in our brain, which can actually help us feel more confident.
That's such a great point, Julia. Sometimes, just reminding ourselves to smile can shift our entire mood. Smiling, even when you're nervous, can help calm you down and make you feel more grounded. So, the next time you're in a situation where you want to feel more confident, try smiling. Even a small smile can make a difference. Try smiling at yourself in the mirror each morning. It might feel silly at first, but it helps you start the day with a positive mindset. Throughout the day, make it a point to smile whenever you feel nervous or uncertain.
These are just a few simple body language tips, but they can really help change the way you feel about yourself and the way others see you. Remember, confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up and doing your best. Body language is a tool that can support you in that journey, and it's something you can start practicing right now.
Exactly, Julia. Body language is powerful, and it's something we can all use to feel a little more confident. Practice these tips regularly, and over time you'll notice a difference in both how you feel and how people respond to you.
That's right, Adam. So, for everyone listening, we encourage you to try these small adjustments. Notice how they make you feel. Remember, each step, no matter how small, can bring you closer to the confidence you're aiming for.
We'll move on to our final thoughts shortly, but first, let's take a quick break. Stay with us for our wrap-up, where we'll go over a few key takeaways from today's conversation on building confidence. All right, everyone. Now let's get into something that a lot of us struggle with, sometimes without even realizing it: negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is that little voice in our heads that criticizes us, doubts us, or makes us feel less capable. It's the part of our mind that says things like, "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess things up." These thoughts can pop up unexpectedly and can really hold us back if we're not careful.
Yes, Adam. And what's tricky about negative self-talk is that it can become a habit. Sometimes we repeat these negative phrases in our heads so often that we start to believe them, even when they're not true. The good news is that with practice, we can start to recognize these thoughts and replace them with more positive, helpful ones. By doing this, we can slowly build a more supportive inner voice that encourages us instead of bringing us down.
Exactly. It's all about becoming aware of the thoughts we have and learning how to challenge them. So let's go through a few simple but powerful techniques that can help us break free from negative self-talk. And don't worry, these are beginner-friendly steps that anyone can try, no matter where you are in your confidence journey.
Great. Let's start with the first technique, catching the thought. The first step in overcoming negative self-talk is learning to notice when it happens. We can't change what we don't recognize, so whenever you find yourself thinking, "I'm not good at this," or "I'm going to fail," try to pause and just acknowledge the thought. You don't have to judge it or try to stop it right away. Just notice it. This awareness alone can be powerful because it helps you realize that these thoughts are just thoughts. They're not facts. Throughout the day, practice noticing your thoughts. Whenever a negative thought pops up, say to yourself, "Oh, that's just a thought," This simple step can help you start seeing these thoughts as separate from you rather than as facts.
That's a great start, Julia. The next step after noticing the thought is challenging it. When you hear yourself thinking something negative, ask yourself, is this really true? Often, we tell ourselves things that aren't actually based on reality. For example, if you think, I'm always bad at speaking in front of people, ask yourself if that's really accurate. Have there been times when you did well speaking in front of others? Even if it's just a small moment, finding evidence to the contrary can help weaken that negative belief. Whenever you have a negative thought, try to find at least one piece of evidence that challenges it. For instance, if you think, I'm not good at anything, remind yourself of something you did well recently. This could be as simple as cooking a nice meal, helping a friend, or completing a task at work.
That's such a helpful technique, Adam. Another useful tool is replacing the negative thought with a positive or neutral one. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to be unrealistically positive, but rather finding a balanced statement that is both kind and true. For example, instead of thinking, I'll never be good at this, try saying, I'm still learning, and it's okay to make mistakes. This kind of language is supportive and acknowledges your progress, which can help boost your confidence over time. Next time you have a negative thought, see if you can rephrase it into a more supportive statement. Instead of, I'm terrible at this, try something like, I'm learning, and that takes time. Practice this until it feels natural.
That's a great exercise, Julia. And here's another technique that I personally find helpful. Talking to yourself as if you were a friend. Often, we're much harsher on ourselves than we would be on anyone else. Imagine a friend was feeling down or struggling with confidence. What would you say to them? You'd probably be supportive, patient, and encouraging. Try to bring that same kindness to yourself. Instead of thinking, I'm not smart enough, try saying, I'm doing my best, and that's all anyone can ask for.
I love that approach, Adam. It really helps shift our inner voice to a more compassionate one. And remember, changing our self-talk isn't something that happens overnight. It's like building a new habit. At first, it may feel a bit awkward or forced, but with practice, it becomes more natural. Over time, you'll find that your inner voice becomes a source of strength rather than doubt.
That's a really important point, Julia. And one last technique I'd like to add is practicing gratitude. It might sound unrelated, but when we focus on things we're grateful for, it can help reduce the space for negative self-talk. By appreciating our strengths and the positive things in our lives, we naturally shift our mindset to one that's more positive and self-accepting. For instance, you could keep a small journal where you write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. This simple exercise can have a big impact on your overall outlook. Try writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day. They can be big or small. Maybe you're grateful for a nice conversation, a good meal, or simply having the opportunity to learn something new. Over time, this practice can help you develop a more positive mindset.
That's such a wonderful exercise, Adam. Gratitude helps us see that there's more to us than just our doubts or fears. It reminds us of our strengths and the good things in our lives. And as we build this habit of recognizing what's positive, it becomes easier to speak kindly to ourselves.
Absolutely, Julia. So to everyone listening, remember that overcoming negative self-talk takes time, but it's a journey that's worth it. By becoming aware of our thoughts, challenging them, and replacing them with positive or neutral statements, we can start to build a more supportive inner voice. Each step, no matter how small, can make a difference in how confident we feel.
That's right, Adam. And just remember, everyone, confidence isn't about never feeling doubt or fear. It's about learning how to move forward even when those feelings are there. So take it one step at a time, be kind to yourself, and remember that every effort counts.
Now let's talk about how all of this ties into real-life situations. We all have moments in life when self-confidence can make a huge difference in how we feel and how we perform. Imagine, for example, you're giving a presentation at work or school. That's a situation where confidence can help you speak clearly, make eye contact with your audience, and express your ideas effectively. If you're lacking confidence, you might feel nervous, forget what you wanted to say, or find it hard to connect with your audience.
Right, Adam. Presentations can be so nerve-wracking, especially if you're not used to speaking in front of people. And it's not just formal situations like presentations either. Meeting new people, whether it's in a social setting or a work environment, also requires confidence. If you're at a networking event or a gathering where you don't know many people, having self-confidence can help you start conversations, introduce yourself, and make a good impression. When you feel confident, it's easier to be yourself and show others who you really are.
Absolutely, Julia. Another common scenario is job interviews. Job interviews are a place where self-confidence is crucial because you're essentially showcasing your abilities, your experiences, and your personality to a potential employer. If you lack confidence, it might come across as uncertainty, even if you're fully capable. On the other hand, when you go into a job interview with self-assurance, you're able to answer questions more clearly, provide strong examples of your skills, and generally make the interviewer feel confident about hiring you.
Yes, job interviews can be tough. And speaking of situations that require confidence, let's also think about everyday conversations. Even something as simple as ordering food at a restaurant or asking for help in a store can feel uncomfortable if you don't have self-confidence. Many people feel shy or unsure in these small interactions, but building confidence can help you approach these moments with ease.
That's so true, Julia. Confidence isn't just for big moments. It's valuable in our daily lives too. In fact, small daily interactions can be a great way to practice confidence and gradually build it up over time. Now, to make this discussion even more practical, let's do a little Q&A. Julia, why don't you ask me some questions that our listeners might have about self-confidence?
Sure thing, Adam. Here's a question I think a lot of people might wonder about. What if I have to give a presentation and I'm really nervous? How can I appear confident, even if I don't feel it inside?
That's a great question, Julia, and it's something I think many people can relate to. One of the best things you can do in a situation like this is to practice beforehand. Practicing doesn't just help you remember what you want to say, it also gives you a chance to get comfortable with the content and how you'll present it. The more familiar you are with your material, the more confident you'll feel. And when it comes to appearing confident, even if you're nervous, remember to focus on your body language. Stand up straight, keep your shoulders relaxed, make eye contact with your audience, and take deep breaths. These small physical adjustments can make a big difference in how confident you seem.
That's really helpful advice, Adam. Here's another question that I think many listeners might have. What if I'm trying to meet new people, but I always feel shy or afraid that they won't like me?
That's a common concern, Julia, and it's normal to feel that way. Meeting new people can feel intimidating, especially if you're not naturally outgoing. A helpful tip is to focus on asking questions. When you're talking to someone new, ask them about themselves, their interests, their hobbies, or even their opinion on a topic. Most people enjoy talking about themselves, and it can take the pressure off you to be the one doing all the talking. Plus, it shows you're interested in getting to know them, which can make them feel good and help create a positive impression.
That's a great tip, Adam. Asking questions really helps take the focus off yourself and makes the other person feel valued. Here's another question. What can I do if I have negative thoughts right before a big event or important conversation?
I would say the first thing is to acknowledge those thoughts without letting them take over. Instead of trying to ignore them, recognize that they're just thoughts, not facts. You can try reframing them by reminding yourself of past successes or of small achievements. For example, if you're about to give a presentation and you start thinking, "What if I mess up?" You could reframe it to, "I've prepared for this and I'm ready to share what I know." Positive affirmations like this can help ground you and boost your confidence right when you need it most.
That's such good advice. Reframing our thoughts can make such a difference, especially in those last few minutes before we face something challenging. And here's a final question I think might be helpful for our listeners. What can I do to keep my self-confidence strong over time, not just in specific situations?
That's a wonderful question, Julia, and it's all about making confidence a habit. One effective way to keep building self-confidence over time is by setting small, achievable goals. When you accomplish small goals regularly, you start to build trust in your own abilities. For example, you might set a goal to speak up in meetings at work, or to introduce yourself to one new person every week. Each time you achieve a small goal, it reinforces the belief that you're capable, and that belief will gradually make you feel more confident in larger situations as well.
That makes so much sense, Adam. Building confidence is like building any skill. It takes practice, patience, and consistency. And I think our listeners will find these real-life examples and Q&A really practical for their own confidence journeys.
I hope so, Julia. Confidence isn't something we're just born with. It's something we can all learn and strengthen with time and effort. For anyone listening, remember that small steps matter, and every bit of progress you make is worth celebrating. So, to wrap up everything we've discussed today, let's go over the key points on building self-confidence. First, we explored what self-confidence is and why it's such an important part of our lives, both in personal and professional settings. We also touched on the common causes of low confidence and how it's entirely normal to face those moments of self-doubt from time to time. Everyone experiences ups and downs, and that's okay.
Then we dived into some practical, actionable tips that anyone can start using right away. We talked about how practicing positive self-talk can change your inner dialogue and help shift those negative thoughts into supportive ones. We emphasized setting small, realistic goals to keep you moving forward step by step. And, of course, celebrating small successes can reinforce a positive self-image and motivate you to keep pushing yourself further.
Right, Julia. We also discussed the importance of focusing on your strengths instead of dwelling on what you think you lack. Remember, everyone has unique talents and qualities. Practicing self-care was another big tip, reminding you to take care of your physical and mental well-being, because that foundation really supports your confidence. Surrounding yourself with supportive people who lift you up and encourage you was another tip that can make a huge difference. And we can't forget stepping out of your comfort zone. Growth happens when we challenge ourselves, even if it's just one small step at a time.
We also touched on body language and how it can reflect and even enhance our self-confidence. Simple changes like standing up straight, making eye contact, and speaking clearly can help you come across as more confident, even if you're feeling nervous inside. Remember, these small physical cues send messages not only to others, but also to yourself, building that internal sense of self-assurance.
And finally, we looked at some real-life scenarios to show how confidence can help in different situations, like giving a presentation, meeting new people, or going for a job interview. With each scenario, we saw how these tips can be applied practically to boost confidence when it's needed most. Our little Q&A also helped answer some common questions on how to deal with nervous thoughts or how to keep up confidence over time.
So, as a final message to all our listeners, we want you to remember that building self-confidence is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, but every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to a more confident, empowered version of yourself. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's about growth, patience, and resilience. Believe in yourself. Keep practicing these tips, and don't be afraid to push beyond what feels comfortable. Progress, not perfection, is the goal here.
That's so well said, Julia. For those of you listening, remember that self-confidence is like any other skill. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. You have all the tools you need to take the first step, and we're here cheering you on every bit of the way. Keep working on it, keep moving forward, and don't be discouraged if things don't change immediately. Trust the process, and over time, you'll see the positive impact of these practices on your life.
Absolutely, Adam. And as you continue on your journey, don't hesitate to revisit this episode anytime you need a reminder or a bit of motivation. And of course, if you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel, The English Globe, for more helpful and motivating content. We're here to help you build not only your English skills, but also your confidence and mindset.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, self-confidence is within your reach, and with each small effort, you're making a big difference in your life. Take care, keep practicing, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone. And don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a comment if you found this episode helpful. We'd love to hear your thoughts and any experiences you have on your journey to building confidence. See you next time.